The friends, many old memories come to my mind when I come to this place. For 5 years I lived here, not always here, but in Tobago and in Hollywood. We miss very much the presence of Shankar. All compounded things are bound to be. So our relationship should be strong and firm by leading a spiritual life, which will be intense, which will be meaningful, which will be giving something to us and also to people with whom we will come in contact in this pilgrimage of life. Swami Aseshananda has been very kind to me. He was chosen by Sri Ramakrishna, as it were, for this place. Otherwise, he could have been happy in Bartley. With his group and congregation, just like some of the Swamis. So what I can tell you about spiritual talk it will be something very unprepared and very informal. One a beautiful verse of Shankaracharya comes to my mind. 3 things are rare gifts of God: human birth, association with arresting personalities, and burning desire for realization of God. Manushyatam mamukshuttam mahapurusha samstha. Although Shankaracharya speaks mahapurusha samstha, association or coming in contact with great souls, but I will interpret Mahapurusha as the Guru, as the teacher, who opens our eyes to the inner kingdom of spirituality, and also who transmits power at the time of initiation and watches until the sadhaka, the spiritual aspirant, attains enlightenment. So my memory goes to Holy Mother. It is due to her grace that I could join this order, I could live this monastic life, and I could find something beautiful in the West, which I call a seeking soul searching for truth, beauty and goodness in this transitory world of vanity and vanities. So spiritual life starts with spiritual awakening by coming in contact with an illumined soul who can transmit power of spirituality and give us conviction that spiritual illumination is the fairest flower of any civilization that human beings can dream of. So it is this grace of Holy Mother that has sustained me all through my monastic life, and I believe that she will hold my hand and lead me from darkness to light, from bondage to freedom, in the language of the Upanishads. And so, spiritual life then is sustained and fostered and strengthened by Guru Bhakti, devotion to Guru. A Guru is not just a person. Guru is a symbol. Is a symbol of the universal soul. And Ishta, Nishta, these are the 2 words which can give meaning to our inner life, Guru Bhakti and Ishtanishta. Guru is the symbol of the universal soul. So when one has to meditate on Guru, he has to meditate on the head center. And when one has to meditate on the Ishta, or chosen ideal in the heart center, it is a symbol that individual soul, when it is free from all worldly sanskaras, impressions, then the individual soul will be drawn to the universal soul. And through spiritual life, we have to awaken the potential power, the infinite power is within every man. Science has demonstrated that there is infinite power in an atom. And if you can release that power, you can explore the whole universe. One scientist was telling me that car, you see, Swami, it was not Cadillac car, it was not Lincoln, just that's a small car. And he said, Swami, there is a mathematical calculation, you see, Einstein is responsible for that, that if this mass is converted into energy, and the energy is bottled up, and if you want to release that energy, either for constructive or destructive purposes, then, especially for destructive purposes, with the science is expert in showing today the whole universe can be explored. But vanity of vanities, all this is vanity. In other words, in this world of friendliness, if man wants real peace, then he has to search not outside in the external world of time, but inside in the heart. And that is the reason why we find we come in contact with great souls to learn from them. And they tell us the method. And if we follow the method, we too will be able to realize the goal, which I call Jivan Mukti, the freedom in this life, not post-mortem emancipation, but Jivan Mukti. And so we have to accept this called Eastern tradition of Guru Bhakti. Tasmad Guru Vigacche. Therefore, you have to approach a Guru Samitpan with fuel in hand. Fuel is a symbol of humility, of reverence, and also it is a symbol that I want to learn. So we find that these great souls, they come at a certain time with an avatar, with a divine incarnation. And their play is not done through the termination of their physical existence. That play continues. That is the reason you and I are here to adore Sri Ramakrishna, who is the symbol of all that is good, all that is beautiful, all that is true in the essential religion of mankind, which is realization of God and service of man as a symbol, an expression of the Holy of the Holies. So I have had the good fortune to sit at the feet of Swami Brahmananda, Swami Premananda, especially Swami Sarada. My tongues are tied when I talk about it, because it is he who has given me what I call the essential things of spiritual life, which I call that devotion to the Guru. Well, one time I went to Swami Sarada and said to him, Maharaj, Holy Mother just gave me a mantra, that the holy name, but she did not give me any method. But I see when you give direction to your disciples, there is a method, there is a procedure. Fortunately, I became his private secretary and also personal attendant. At first, he created a great fear in my mind, because I was new. I left my shoes at the threshold, and he scolded. And a very austere person, very great person. I thought, why should an 11-year-old scold who did not talk, who did not hurt my feeling? but the scolding of great swans are blessing in disguise. The scolding has taken away all my karmas, and made my karmas good, you see. And so, when destiny brought me to Buddha, and I became his personal attendant, and also his private secretary, he used to dictate letters. So, one day I said to him, you give some direction. There is procedure, but Holy Mother did not give me any direction, any procedure, any method. He did not even say that you have to repeat 108 times, or morning or evening twice, going to the shrine or anything. But he said, you are the greatest fool that I can do. It's Holy Mother is the Divine Mother herself. What she has done, she has given that the last word of spiritual life. Repeat that name with faith, honor, and devotion, and cling to her feet, and everything will come in goodness of time. So we can this mantra shakti, I call it mantra shakti. What was going to tell me, Swami Aseshananda, that the Guru and the disciple, this relationship is a very intimate relationship. It is just like a spiritual father and a spiritual son. And this relationship is established through a mantra. Mantra means manana prayakiti mantra. That means if you repeat that name with love and devotion, then gradually you will be able to realize the truth. See, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, just like a boat which is connected with a chain, and if you hold the chain, as in the summer season you will find many people have kept their boat underwater, and they have a chain there, and gradually they go and find out the boat. And then similarly, gradually from this sensate plane, I call it gross plane, will go to the subtle plane, the plane of thought, and higher thoughts and ideas. Then we go to the causal plane, where we will be able to visualize our chosen ideal, Ishtadevata Sakshatkara. The highest plane will be where what we one called transcendental plane, where there will be oneness between the individual soul and the universal soul. So this mantra, therefore Guru Shakti, the power of the Guru comes from God when he reaches a higher state of consciousness called Samadhi. And so then he becomes a transmitter. As I can give you a flower, similarly Guru can give an awakening to spiritual life, awakening to inner life, awakening to the world of eternal truth and unfading beauty, and the goodness of God will be realized by the individual soul if he performs sadhana. So this Guru, Slotriya, or Brijina, or Kamahata, Brahmavitta, he must be knower of the essential truths of the scriptures and must lead a sinless life, and then impart his teachings without any ulterior motive behind. And he must be a man of God, who has experienced God. He simply does not talk about God. Yes. One little girl asked me this question. Swami, I saw in the television Moses saw God. There was a television show. And then it was our Sunday school girl. I said, I have seen a person who has seen God. But now I think that although I did not realize at that time when I met Holy Mother in Buddha, but gradually this idea is coming to my mind that she was not just an illumined soul or a saintly woman, but she was the Divine Mother herself. And it is Swami Sarada's scolding helped me to understand a little. So I tell you, we may feel that, you see, Shankaracharya is no more with us, he's gone. But Guru lives in the mantra. In the mantra, that is what I have learned by sitting at the feet of Swami Sarada. If you repeat the Easter mantra, then as it were, you visualize the form of the Guru. Therefore, the relationship with the Guru and the disciple is an eternal relationship. As I have said, there is eternal relationship between the individual soul and the universal soul, Jiva and Ishvara. So this Kundalini, that is the idea which our the Yoga Shastras speak to us. That there is that in every person there is that potential power of realizing God. And therefore we must not think that man cannot realize God. Man can, if he has the grace of the Guru, the grace of his own mind, and the grace of his friends with whom he comes in contact. That means sometimes you find friends that give us trouble. As Christ said, Father, save me from my friends. But so our real friends, are those people who help us to lead a spiritual life. And so the spiritual companionship, you see. Therefore, it is our tradition, the Guru Bhata, Guru Bhakti we call it. We leave our connection. Our connection is not through our parents, our connection is through Guru. And so Swami Nikhilanda, for example, Swami Nikhilanda, the disciple of Holy Mother. Whenever Swami Nikhilanda will call me, I will have to go to New York. But I will say one thing, that you will have to pay the passage. Uncle Sam will not pay. So anyway, this idea of Guru and this relationship with the disciple is a very intimate relationship. And the Guru does not die. He as it was just marched in let's call it Brahman or Sri Ramakrishna. And his blessing will be with us. And Guru, illumined Guru, is satisfied with the disciple who comes home. Comes home means he realizes God. So this Guru Shakti is as it were transmitted to the disciple, to the seed. He is like a gardener. He plants a seed. But sadhana is necessary. A spiritual discipline is necessary. The two are the most important spiritual disciplines, which is called japa and dhyana. And to repeat the name of the Ishtam and meditate on the spiritual form of the chosen deity according to the direction of the teachers. This reminds me of one of our great Swami meditated. But he meditated for 16 years. He led an intense spiritual life. But there is a kind of weariness or tiredness of the brain. He could not meditate. Then he was Swami Brahmanandaji Maharaja, or President Maharaj. He asked him to come to Calcutta. And for treatment, Western treatment, then Ayurvedic treatment, homeopathic treatment, nothing acted on. Then somebody suggested, why don't you go to Holy Mother? She is your Guru. You went to Jairamba. And said, my child, where do you meditate? He said, I meditate on the Shastra. It's 1,000 petals. I did not instruct you that way. I instruct you meditate in the heart center. And he followed Holy Mother's instructions meticulously, precisely. In 3 days she was all right there. And she has reported to other disciples and followers that because I had a great Guru who was like a great physician, who could diagnose the disease and give the right prescription. So we can find that this relationship is established, no doubt, but sadhana of the student or the sadhaka is very important. That is what Swami Aseshananda said to Sarada Devi, who became later this Bharatipran, the head of the Sarada mission. When Holy Mother passed away, went to Mahasamadhi, Sarada Devi wrote a letter that Maharaj, please shower your grace on me. I feel a kind of dryness, loneliness. Then Swami Aseshananda says, I have emptied my purse to you. But you have served Holy Mother. It is, you have received her affection and love. But if you want to realize the truth and attain real peace, then you have to perform sadhana. And also you have to realize who Holy Mother actually was. A Swarupa. Then you have to realize her Swarupa, her real nature. So we have seen Holy Mother, we have not realized the Swarupa. For that sadhana is necessary, according to instruction of Swami Aseshananda. If we can know the Swarupa of Holy Mother, then Swaisha Prashanna Varadani Nam Bhavati Mukta. So when Mother is pleased, man can attain illumination in a twinkling of an eye. But I have not realized her Swarupa. But I can say that she is Abhaya, she is giver of fearlessness. You see, Swami was telling me that about my coming to this country. So when I left India from Colombo, you see, I told the story on I wanted the blessing of our General Secretary Swami Madhavananda and our president at that time was Swami Virojananda. But Swami Madhavananda was a very business-like person, General Secretary. He said, no, you go with Krishnamurti to Colombo and take board there. But Maharaj, what about the blessings? I will send by mail, don't worry. So, but I did not worry, I tell you, I did not worry because our mother's blessing was there. Indian Ocean, a little girl used to come, girl of a missionary who was retired to India. I used to come, Swami, nobody to play with me, you just come. And there was a kind of swing, you just pull the swing. But when we crossed the Rock of Gibraltar, the cold season came, it was November, the cold season came. Then came to mid-Atlantic. The captain did not come. There was a hard storm, and some boats were capsized. And I thought of Swami Aseshananda, that I wanted to fly, and to save money, you say, come by boat. So anyway, the captain did. And at night, I was listening that the captain was giving the siren that you come and go into the lifeboat. And because the boat may any time capsize. Then I thought within myself, Mother, if you are a fire, giver of fearlessness, this is the time. Because I do not know swimming in the ocean. I can swim in the lake. But the sharks were there. And this crocodile. We know when crocodile will come, usually monsoon time. Sometimes we can understand, so we won't go and swim where there is a danger there. I am not Swami Turyananda. Turyananda was taking bath and he saw a crocodile. And then he came out and said, I am a Vedantist, why should I be afraid? And so we went there and crocodile looked at him and left because he was so strong. There was no fear, but I had real fear. My suitcase, big suitcase, was just like a golf football. Because this side of the cabin to that side of the cabin. And also the night will not come to an end, as it were. And so said, Mother, your name is Abhaya, giver of fearlessness. So this is the time you must tell me. And so when afterwards I went to sleep, and next day it was bright sunshine, and the weather was clear. Similarly, there will be the dangers and difficulties, you see, when one leads a spiritual life. Sriyam Shivahu Vignani. But all these difficulties will pass away with the grace of Guru, ace of power. At least through imagination should think that way. So then we find then that sadhana, when I speak of sadhana, it is the mantra sadhana that I will speak of. Mantra, repeat the mantra. But why do you not get result? Is that if you can say that? That we are repeating the mantra, we are meditating, but still Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna does not answer our prayers, or Holy Mother does not give us illumination. It is difficult for me to say, but one has to be patient. One has to be patient. And another thing, one has to lift up the anchor. That is Sri Ramakrishna's story. That you see, some people hired a boat and they rode whole night. But morning time, they were not sober, you see. Not sober. But they rode whole night. The next morning, one of the friends found they have not lifted up the anchor. So, in other words, attachment. Attachment to things that change and pass away. We must have to understand that it is this attachment that creates obstacles. Now, how does this attachment go away? Creating counter-attachment for God. We are attached to sensate things of life. We are attached to finite things. We are attached to what we call the appearance. We are attached to the world of Maya, which is illusory. We are to attach to the reality. We are to be attached to our great God, Sri Ramakrishna, the avatar, who is the symbol and expression of God as his personal as well as impersonal aspect. When we go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Sri Ramakrishna will appear before us as the impersonal Brahman. But when we are bhaktas, devotees, he will come. He will respond to our call and prayer. But probably Sri Ramakrishna has got an unlisted number. That we have to find out. That is now devotion, faith, attitude, and also imagination. We have to imagine that today's imagination is tomorrow's realization. That way, it is he who is looking after us. Like a fledgling is looked after by the mother God. Storms will come, but will remain unharmed. So we find then that Sri Ramakrishna's protecting hand will be with us. And we have to feel it, we have to experience it. Then life will be sweet, life will be fragrant, life will be joyful. So I have at this time to speak about this mantra shakti, the power of the mantra. But mantra shakti must lead to backward, intense longing for the vision of God. As a drowning man longs for the breath of air. When I was coming from Portland, there was the magazine called Vedanta Patient. In that magazine, there is an article called Saint Augustine and Vedanta. Somebody has written that article, Dr. Bukashan or somebody. Now, when I was reading Saint Augustine, I thought of that his pre-monastic life was not very wholesome. But it does not matter. Base metal can be transformed into gold. But he read, he got a kind of a voice from above, a little child that was telling, go and read. And so he read, not by writing, not by leading a fast life, but put on the cloak of Christ and he will be saved or something. So he joined the monastery, he became a monk. And he's one of the outstanding theologians of the West. And at one time he also had that kind of background, intense longing for it. But he was very sincere. As it were, Lord appeared before him. No, he didn't appear, Lord didn't appear. He said, give me purity, give me chastity, give me self-control. But I admire his sincerity, but not yet. But he was not ready. He has spoken from the conscious mind, not from his deeper mind. He said, not yet, my Lord. You know. And then afterwards, he lived this monastic life for many years. Then he wrote books called My Confessions, and then also The City of God, this worldly city. I call the city of senses, you see. And the city of God is a city of spiritual vision, spiritual realization, and spiritual experience. Yes. So but then a time came when Lord says, tomorrow, why tomorrow, why not today, why not today? So we find that in spiritual life there will be difficulties, but we must be stable. As it were in the language, in common language, you have what you call reserve your seat in a boat, let us call it a plane. Don't come out of the plane, you see, until you have reached your destination. You see. So the Sri Ramakrishna's, this movement, or called Vedanta movement, this movement is intended to spiritualize our life and also give us the realization of God, not after death as in this life. You see. So we have to stay with the vehicle or the method which we have accepted as our own until we reach the goal of perfection, goal of freedom, goal of immortality. And I give you an example. I had to go to called Saskatoon for Krishna worship. That was a nice function. And then I had to come to Portland. But the devotees did not say that this plane will stop somewhere. He didn't say that he will go straight. This is my idea, because I did not definitely ask that question. So my idea was that this plane from Saskatoon will go to Vancouver. Then I will change to Western Airlines and then take plane to Portland. That was the things were there. But what happened? I was reading a book. You see, reading a book. And then after some time, all people left. And I thought I had come to a destination. So I also left. There were only maybe 2 or 3 passengers. Then when I came down, I searched for my baggage. I couldn't find it. I said, what has happened? Then I went to the man in charge. My ticket is here, but my baggage is not here. Where are you, sir? I said, I'm in Vancouver. This is not Vancouver. This is no, Edmonton. This is Edmonton. Edmonton. This is Edmonton. And then I went up, and after one of the officers, he went to the superintendent with the head. He wanted to start. If he had not started, then he would have allowed me because the gate was closed. But unfortunately, when the baggage took off, and I gave. They are doing, in a sense, everything has Sri, everything has, again, the attitude is without my stopping there, I would not have seen Swami Aseshananda. My plane had to stop to Seattle. And those devotees and brahmacharis gave me a nice supper. And the devotees came to the airport at 10 o'clock. And I arrived at 11:30. But I saw a few more places like Victoria. So take life not sometimes as a challenge, sometimes as a fun. Don't be too serious with this external life. The real seriousness is forgetfulness of God is death. Remembrance of God is life. And that is the reason why this great teacher, you see, Shuddhu, Shuddhu Shuddhi, Shuddhu Shuddhu, Dhruva when our thoughts are pure, then our mind step will be pure. When the mind step is pure, there will be constant and unbroken remembrance of God. It will become anything that we learn with pain, we can teach with song. What we learn in pain, we teach in sorrow. Now this learning period is a painful period, it is a struggle, it is an effort. It may be skiing, or it may be typing, or it may be swimming. When it becomes effortless, when it becomes spontaneous, when the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are both are unified, when you create a habit, the habit. I can live without food, but I cannot live without God. When that has become the attitude of our inner being, then we are moving towards our ideal. And so we find that Swami Aseshananda, whenever there will be a doubt and difficulty, I go to him, he will say, even when there is darkness, even when there is a kind of tunnel, always hold fast to the mantra that the mother has given. And the darkness will disappear and light will come. And also, they all will always say that be patient, be patient. That in other words, Kalena Atmani Bindu, we can realize our true self, all can realize God in time. There should be sadhana, there should be Shraddha for the Guru, but also time factor comes. We are not like Sri Ramakrishna, that he attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi in one day. What our Nirvikalpa Samadhi? One person was there, her name is Meera, when I was connected with the center. Swami, you talk about Samadhi and all this. But suppose I go into Samadhi and I have to go to the vacuum clinic. What I have to do? And I get into an accident and I have to send me to the hospital. I said, Meera, please don't go into Samadhi. So do we find that this, I have mentioned there is Guru Shakti, and I tell you, I did not know that Holy Mother was really the Divine Mother. But little glimpse is coming, that I have touched her feet, I have heard her word. Now I long for her grace, so that through her grace, impossible things can become possible. So we find this Kripa Shakti. It is not simply the sadhana. This Kripa, grace, grace. The ascent of man and descent of God, I call it grace. It reminds me of Baburam Maharaj, Swami Premanand, in Balram Bush's house. I met Swami Premanand in Buddha. He was not well. He was not well. I met, but he went to Devghar for change. But that was the influenza time. They used to call war fever in 1914. We were in the college in those days. The St. Paul's Cathedral Mission College. Then we heard that Baburam Mahapurush went to Devghar and brought Baburam Maharaj to stay in Balram Bush's house. So Akhilananda was my good friend. He would know everything. And he would tell me that where Maharaj will be, whether in Balram Bush's house or Maharaja Nato's place or Ramakrishna Bush's house, like that. He kept record of everything. So it is from Akhilananda and I went to Balram Bush's house. Akhilananda was talking with one shop. That Baburam Maharaj asked me, "Are you the grandson of M?" But I was foolish in those days. I said, "Oh, M was a non-Brahmin, I'm a Brahmin." No, I have seen you. Yes, Maharaj, I saw you in Bodhan. But he was fond of prasad. They asked his attendant, Swami Prabodhananda, prasad. And then, another day when Baburam Maharaj refused to take any medicine. Vipin Ghosh, his relative, but he was one of the best physicians and a devotee. He saw Sri Ramakrishna. Vipin Babu prescribed some medicine. Baburam Maharaj would take it. His Shebak, his attendant, reported to Maharaj. Baburam Maharaj in the big hall, but Sri Ramakrishna used to come and sing and dance and talk in the big hall. and Maharaj is in the next room, the small room. So Maharaj came. Bhagaramda, he was senior by age, therefore died at Bhai. Bhai means younger brother, Da means older brother. Bhagaramda, is it true that you have refused to take any medicine, but you want only Charanamrita, the holy water from the shrine, which has been offered to Sri Ramakrishna, and his bathing ceremony has been done. Yes, Maharaj. Now I will. But you know, Bhagaramda, this body does not belong to you. You have seen Thakur, how he would always follow the advice of the doctor, Sharkar, or any doctor, homeopathic doctor or allopathic doctor. He will always follow doctor's advice. This body does not. Maharaj, you are Thakur's disciple. Whatever you say, I will. Then Maharaj said, Bhagaramda, you take medicine and then Charanamrita, take both. Then it is Bhagaramda's song. Bhagaramda's peace. Then the last time, the time came, he was breathing hard, heavily. That means they are almost going to heart failure. He had influenza and other difficulties came. Bhagaramda was not very strong, but he was very fair, very beautiful. And was a motherly face, very kind. But when you come from outside, as students come from outside, Bhagaramda is all right. But when you join the monastery, you see not his Shivamutri, but Rudramutri. He will scold mercilessly. And if you cut your finger, they will say, for cutting vegetables, you are so careless, so inattentive. I have asked you to cut vegetables, not to cut your fingers. I don't want to make this a hospital. So it was his training, but he used to tell that we are not going to leave law by seeing you people will judge Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna is the mold. So we have to fashion our life in that beautiful mold so that we can bring out a thing of beauty, a thing of joy, a thing of glory, a thing of happiness. So Bhagaram Maharaj was there. The last moment, you see, Maharaj came. Maharaj, last moment. Bhagaramda, is Thakur here? Is Ramakrishna here? Do you see him? If you see, then we will have faith. As it were, Maharaj, he was a constant communion with our master. You see, that is what Swami Aseshananda said to Swami Vedanta. If I say something, I say from the rational way. And so you have to think whether it work or not, and report to me, you can check. But if Maharaj says anything, you follow. You follow. It comes from the higher thing. So anyway, Maharaj, as to teach us, he says, is Thakur here? Do you see him? Then we'll have faith. Bhagavan Maharaj meditated. And afterwards says, I see him intensely, very truly. But kripa, through his grace that he has granted me vision, he is real, and also he has satisfied the hunger of my soul, and my day is done. I am ready to it. And then when Bhagavan Maharaj wept like a child. So these great souls have what you call the great compassion and love. They look after us, just like a gardener looks after the plants, and is satisfied when the plant grows, and is immensely satisfied when any of us will be able to feel the presence of God in our heart and be a servant of Master who is in all beings, Sarvabhuta. You see, to see Sri Ramakrishna in the heart and to see Sri Ramakrishna in all, these are the ideas. Atmanamokshartam, Jagadhita. Atmanamokshartam, you see Sri Ramakrishna in our own heart. Jagadhita, you see Sri Ramakrishna. That is why Bhagavan Maharaj used to say, what good will it be to building a temple of Sri Ramakrishna? You see, already there is a living temple in every human being. So, is my time over?
Not at all.
I have Kripa, the award I have seen. Sadhana and Kripa both are necessary. But there comes, if I am to make a kind of remark, in Buddhism we find the stress is given in sadhana, self-effort. You see, there you find that Buddha, his last word, all compounded things are bound to decay. Then he said to Ananda, be a lamp unto yourself, Ananda. Work out your salvation with diligence. You see. So there, in Buddhism, especially Hinayana Buddhism, from the grace of a personal God is missing. In Christian faith, there is the called grace. To thy hand I commend my spirit. When you find the Christ, let this cup pass away. That means self-effort. But he said, to thy hand, that is last word. To thy hand. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That means he had no animosity or any kind of bitter feeling against anybody. You see. Father, but last word, to thy hand, it is the grace. Now, there is something missing in Christian faith. I call it faith. That means called jnana. That there is a real self of man. The real self of man is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta. It is eternally free, eternally pure, eternally human. So illumination is not the effect of sadhana. Illumination is reaching a state of consciousness which is beyond duality, beyond change, beyond multiplicity, where through the grace of God and the grace of the Guru, you realize a oneness supreme. So Sri Ramakrishna has come to, as it were, that to reconcile the importance of self-effort of Buddhism and the importance of grace of Christianity. And in his beautiful way of telling that put your sail on the mast, the wind of his grace is always blowing. Even the sadhana, that means due to his grace. And put your sail on the mast, that means you try to forget all your worries and troubles, and always try to remember your beloved Lord, and goodness of time will reveal the truth that you are not alone. You are not lonely. He is always your companion, eternal companion, eternal friend, eternal guide, and eternal hope. So with Holy Mother, I have to come back to Holy Mother. Swami Aseshananda used to make a fun, you see, make a fun when you see me, you see. He used to say, Swami Aseshananda, Mayer Bhakta, Kiran Datta, Nityananda. You see, in those who have gone to India now, there is a great devotee called Kiran Datta. He was Holy Mother's disciple. But his brother, Nityananda, he was not a disciple. You see. So he said, Ma Kali Bhakta, the devotee of Mother Kali is Kiran Datta. Yeah, that means the Holy Mother's disciple was Kiran Datta, but not Nityananda, his brother. But he was a good friend, also on help. So Holy Mother lived there in Kiran Datta's house in Benares. And one time Holy Mother had, Golabma was there. Kiran Datta's house there called Mathur Kirtan. That means it is the separation of the gopis of Vrindavan, and the performer was ending with that, with Viraha, where it is called the separation. Then Holy Mother said to Golabma, let there be Milan. It is not through separation, there is also union. And so he hurriedly improvised a song, or not improvised, it was traditional. So he said Milan here. He finished it quickly because he had to take train to go to someplace. But Mother at that time was in a very exalted state of consciousness. And Golabma held her hand and brought from Kiran Datta's house in Padvasa, near close to Balram Bashu's house, to Udgodam. But Mother was not conscious of the environment. And then they called Mother, Mama. offering is to be done. If you don't offer, then there will not be prasad for the devotees. After half an hour, the mother came back to normal. And as it were, she was asleep. And then she offered food and all that. Then it is Gulabma said, this state I saw in Vrindavan when Thakur passed away, and now I see. Mother here also had great experiences of what you call samadhi or realization of God. You see, but to me, I can say, is it my time? Okay. Okay.
Stop it.
Yeah, I talking to God first. It is তোমার হাতের সাধনার্থী জ্বলিছে হৃদয়ে অনুক্ষণ অভয়া হবে মোর জীবনের ধন দিও মা আশিস মিনতি তোমার করি যেন সুখে তব গুণগান। In English, I write, you have given me the light of sadhana. I will try my best to keep that light burning with sincere care and earnest vigil. Thy name has been the source of my strength and the fount of my hope. And thy divine form will always remain in my heart as a priceless gift, as a chance of Islam. So it is, I can only say, I commend you to the care of Sri Ramakrishna, who is our beloved master, who is like the good shepherd of the Christians, who will never allow a single sheep beyond his fold and wait patiently until the lost sheep has come to the fold. Then alone he let him his peace. And I commend you to the care of Holy Mother, our Divine Mother, who is the embodiment of Karuna, embodiment of grace, embodiment of compassion, embodiment of sweetness and joy. May she enlighten your heart and make it full of joy, peace, eternal hope, and unbounded gratitude to our Master who has brought us here together in this pilgrimage of life, to give us the joy of participation in a divine drama which will last for centuries and centuries for the good of all, for the happiness of all. Thank you.